Here it comes.
That's a U.S. Navy mh60s Seahawk. They're going to be rescuing the Artemis pilots. Here it is right here.
Making its final approach
Yeah,
here.
they're rescuing the people from the Artemis 2. Ladies and gentlemen, the Falcon 9, the Seahawk is rescuing the Artemis pilots. Ladies and gentlemen,
The last
Artemis
astronaut,
pilot crew,
Commander
is
Reed
airborne.
Weissman,
Benjamin,
now off the
they've
front
been
porch
rescued.
and almost into the second helicopter. Both now on their way back to the ship where we are, the USS John P. Murtha, just west of San Diego in the Pacific Ocean. Exciting to see our 4 crew members minutes away from landing on the flight deck here on the recovery ship. 550 people on this ship, excited, ready, anxious, looking forward to welcoming this crew aboard. Watching them now with our own eyes. Close to the ship here. Hearing them begin to hover on the flight deck, which is just across from us, here on the bow.
Here it comes as inbound to
First
the
helicopter
ship.
coming in.
Here it is, coming in. Steep approach, steep approach. There it is.
And wheels down. Wheels down of the first helicopter carrying 2 of our Artemis
Wheels
2
down.
crew. Pilot Victor Glover and mission specialist Christina Cook. Helo 1 on deck reported on the recovery loop. Again, the mission audio loops that the recovery team are using here to communicate with one another. And an announcement just made on the ship, integrity incoming. 2 more helicopters on their way to the flight deck, one carrying the crew, the other, one of our imagery helicopters. Again, kudos to our imagery and aerial teams for giving us these beautiful views of history in the making. Set amid a gorgeous, soon-to-be sunset here in the Pacific Ocean. Second helicopter making its approach of the flight deck. Plenty of people here on the bow with their cell phones out, filming this moment. Some impressive flying here by the Navy as we are seconds away from wheels down. And there you go. We now have all 4 Artemis 2 crew members.
They are down.
On the USS John P. Murtha. I'm sure they're happy to be out of the water and on this recovery ship with, again, 550 people on board, ready to welcome them home. But first, as we've been saying throughout the broadcast, just making sure the crew feel good. We reported that they were feeling good when they were in Orion, but those were just initial, quick, verbal assessments of how they're feeling. Their destination tonight, the medical bay here on the ship, right after we power down the helicopters here. Waiting for just one more helicopter to touch down. Very limited personnel here on the flight deck.
Restricted maneuvering doctrine is in effect.
As that third helicopter touches down.
The ship is at flight quarters. Stand clear of weather decks, aft of frame 095, where no cover topside, thrown articles over the side, hold all trash and garbage on station. Flight quarters.
While just a few folks on the flight deck itself, there are plenty more on some upper decks. I see in some of our views a very packed crowd overhead.
The most tracked flight
Announcements
in the world
being
right
made
now
over
is
the
Recovery
ship's
7.
loudspeaker system, reminding folks to stay clear of operational areas like the flight deck, so that teams can work quickly to get the crew off of the helicopters and into the medical bay. Splashdown today, 5:06 p.m. Pacific time. We are within 2 hours of that splashdown time, and already we have all 4 crew members on the flight deck of the USS John P. Murtha. Again, crew waiting before getting out for the helicopters to completely shut down. Safety, of course, very important to NASA and the U.S. military. So we'll wait just a couple of minutes here before we start seeing crew members walk off the helicopters one by one.
You can see the blades are shutting down, and just like that, the blades are off. Same thing for this one. The blades are off. Just like that, the blades are off. Same for this. Same for this one. Same for that one. And this one. Ladies and gentlemen, the crew's being offloaded.
And with the helicopter blades slowing to a stop, we are, as we just heard, waiting for the emergence of the 4 Artemis II astronauts now. see NASA photographers getting in place, and one of the crew members on helicopter
All right,
44.
and now here we see
There he is.
pilot
There
Victor
he is.
Glover
This is pilot Victor Glover.
and mission specialist Christina Cook sitting on the edge
That's her.
of one of the helicopters, looking in great spirits. That familiar smile and laugh from Victor, I can see it from here. Christina, I'm sure, feeling the same way, just blocked a little bit by our camera here, but we'll see her here shortly. A photographer taking their pictures. Victor saluting folks on the flight deck. They look like they're in great. Happy to be home, I'm sure. Or ask questions of these 4 astronauts who just made history as the first crew to 1972. Oh, there we see Christina there, also smiling, finally peering out, waving at the cameras. Hello to you too, Christina, yes? Welcome back. Welcome, welcome home. A loudspeaker announcement on the ship saying, "Welcome home, Integrity." Victor in great spirits. I can't see who he's talking to, but I kind of think that he might be talking to his other 2 crew members. The flight deck, congratulations to one another. And so now we see some Navy personnel walking up to the helicopter. This is again the first helicopter carrying pilot Victor Glover and mission specialist Christina Cook. Both have taken off their helmets now. Some pictures, video to catalog this historic moment.
The
A beautiful
NASA
sunset just behind them here in the Pacific Ocean.
wdc3 is
Golden hour.
circling above,
These pictures will
getting
be beautiful.
some exclusive footage, doing heavy maneuvers. It's great to be on the stream,
Now we
especially
see
from being on the Doomsday plane.
NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman, he is on the flight deck, as well as Flight Surgeon Rick Schuring walking over
It is great
to
to
Victor
be,
and Christina first. We saw the administrator walk
be
over
able
to the other
help
helicopter,
broadcast this
which is carrying
with NASA.
Commander Reed Weissman and mission specialist Jeremy Hansen.
That plane is
We
doing
heard
some
from Rick
pretty
earlier
heavy
in the
maneuvers.
broadcast. Again, he said he's going to be out there on the flight deck
We're
to
getting this view
do
from
another
Fox
initial assessment of the
Skycam,
crew, ask them how
and-
they're
No,
feeling,
we're getting it from a Skycam, from helicopter, hovering helicopter.
anything bothering them. But again, from what I'm seeing,
Sunset
they look
reaches
like they're in great
California,
spirits and feeling pretty
and all
good
planes
for folks
flying
who
around
just
doing
traveled
some exclusive footage.
695,000 miles from Florida to the moon and now here to the Pacific Ocean. We're now seeing NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman walking across the flight deck. He had been talking to Reed and Jeremy, now approaching Victor and Christina. A hug from Victor, a hug from Christina. What a moment that we're getting to experience together.
As dusk reaches California,
I'm
It's
sure
all said and
congratulatory
done.
words. You know, we got to
mission
speak
to the
to
moon has been
the
complete.
administrator live on this
The
broadcast
planes
as
are
well.
watching,
And
getting you some
he
good
said the
footage.
kid in him right now, giddy, absolutely giddy at what we were able to accomplish today. Returning them home safely and in good spirits after a 10-day mission around the moon. And here we go. We're seeing Jeremy walking, waving across the flight deck, now on his way to the medical bay. It's a short walk, less than a minute. Again, that's why the recovery team decided to use helicopters to get them on the flight deck for that short walk to medical bay. And now on the flight deck, we see the chief of the astronaut office, Scott Tingle. The other helicopter, big hugs from Victor, Christina to Scott. Again, a gorgeous sunset setting the stage for this recovery tonight. All right, and now here we are, Christina, making her way, looking thankful, grateful, happy to be home.
As we see astronaut Christina Cook walking to the med bay, flanked to her right by Chief of the Astronaut Office, Scott Tingle, now walking back out to the 2 remaining crew members. Let's see if he goes to, yeah, it looks like Victor's up next. He's in the helicopter on the right from this camera's vantage point, and Commander Reed Wiseman on the helicopter to the left, number 42. Hugs from the Chief of the Astronaut Office to Artemis II pilot Victor Glover. Lots of jubilation to be back on Earth. Victor now making his way over to the medical bay, like his 2 mission specialist crewmates before him. You can see Administrator Jared Isaacman just there beyond the helicopter blade by the look of it. And a crew member there standing by with a wheelchair if needed, but so far all 3 crew members that have walked to the medical bay have done so under their own power, which is always good to see. Scott Tingle making his way to the final member of Artemis II, the commander, Reed Wiseman. This walk to the med bay for the commander coming 2 hours, 5 minutes, 18 seconds post splashdown is beginning to wrap things up for this historic day for the Artemis II mission, the conclusion of the first humans to travel to the lunar sphere of influence in more than 53.5 years or thereabouts. And crew on their way to the medical bay. Good to see them all back on Earth, and wonderful welcome home. We do have a post-spin, so be sure to tune in then to hear from NASA leadership about the journey, this final leg of the Artemis II mission, as the crew have been making their way back to planet Earth and successfully splashed down and now on the naval recovery ship.
Team was just amazing. We were able to have great conversations and communications about everything. And I don't know what else to say. I'm just so ecstatic. It's such a wonderful feeling to get to this point. Again, we still have to get the capsule, but this is huge for all of us in landing recovery, and I couldn't do this without my team, and of course the full support of the U.S. military. There's going to be lots of high fives when we get the capsule back in, and I'm so happy that the crew's doing well, Ryan's doing well, and thank you for for everybody watching.
Yeah, it was great.
And you're looking now live back at a mostly empty white flight control room, the nerve center for the Artemis 2 mission since it has been in flight. And now that Orion is back on Earth, the crew are dedicated coverage with commentary on the return of Artemis 2. Of course, as we mentioned, there is a post-splashdown news conference coming up at 9:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 0230 UTC for those joining around the world. Also tonight, there is a Starlink launch out at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. So a couple of different ways that we'll bring you this live coverage. We'll have the news conference over on our 24/7 live stream, Artemis Live, and we will have the Starlink broadcast over on Launchpad Live. So whatever is your flavor of choice tonight, whether you want to see the Falcon 9 fly or you want to see the NASA leadership talk about how this mission played out and hear a little bit more about where things stand, we'll have both for you. So you can let this be a choose your own adventure tonight in which direction of space exploration you want to go. Want to give a big heartfelt thank you to our wonderful team behind the scenes, from our moderators on YouTube to all of you who have been watching the broadcast and been commenting, supporting our coverage from here in Houston throughout the course of this entire adventure. We're awaiting the crew to come back to Houston, and we'll have coverage of that tomorrow. But want to give a big thank you, of course, to our team here at Spaceflight Now, to John Pisani, to Adam Bernstein, Michael Kane, and our editor, Stephen Young. It's been one heck of a mission to cover here, the return of human space flight out to the moon for the first time in more than half a century. And it's been an honor to lead our coverage from here in Houston, Texas, right down the road from the Johnson Space Center. And I'll be heading over to the Johnson Space Center for that news briefing coming up here in about 10 minutes. Want to give a big final thank you to all of you who have been watching from home, whether you watch part of our coverage, all of our coverage, the videos we put on YouTube, and there's much more to come from our coverage of Artemis 2 and what is coming down the road for lunar exploration with humans, robotics, and everything in between. For all of us here at Spaceflight Now, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I'm Will Robinson Smith. As always, be good to yourselves, be good to others. Welcome home, Artemis 2, and good night.